You're now listening to the Boys in the Booth podcast with your hosts, Harper Cody, Chad Melbourne, and Casey Abrams. New episodes every Monday on Spotify and Apple Podcasts.
Hello and welcome to episode 122 of the Boys in the Booth podcast. This time without Harper Cody, our host. So, Case, you and I, we're going to be struggling through this one, but, I'm sure we'll do fine. Harper gave us a bit of a short notice here that he was going to be missing this pod, but it's all good. It's the two of us today, and we've got some fun stuff to talk about. So, before we get into it, how about I ask you, how are you doing, and how is that mustache that I see? That looks fantastic.
Yeah, it's sans Harper and lots of mustache on this episode.
So
between
much.
The two of us. My brother's bachelor party is this weekend, and I was like, you know what? When's a better time to have a mustache than a bachelor party?
That's fantastic.
Grew it out just real jiffy, and I'm ready for it now.
It looks good, man. Are you planning on keeping it around or what?
I don't know. I fluctuate with these things.
Yeah, I'm the same way. It's like, I've had mine for a while now, but it's like some days I look in the mirror, I'm like, that looks really good. Other days I look in the mirror, it's like, that looks terrible. Shave it off. So, okay.
Yeah, no, I've got some work stuff coming up. I got the Restaurants Canada show, so maybe I won't have a mustache for that, but we'll see.
Yeah, fair enough. I debated shaving mine. I've got a job interview coming up this week, and so, but I think it's part of me now, so I think I might just keep it. I don't know. But
yeah, it says a lot about a man when you show up to a job interview with a mustache.
Yeah, I might look like a rancher or something, but maybe I have legal skills as well. This weekend, dude, was Easter, obviously, and Paige's sister and her niece came to visit, so that was just so hectic. Oh my god, like it was absolutely nuts. So having a 4-year-old child in the house, first of all, is like ridiculous. Add on top of that having to study for my first round of, or I guess you can technically say it's my second round of law school exams. Like it's still unfamiliar to me, and like this whole weekend was just a blur and stressful and all of that, but I'm happy to be here and recording, because we didn't record last week and it's been a while since we talked hockey, and I was kind of looking forward to it. Anything exciting happen on your weekend?
No, it was pretty nothing weekend. I didn't go back to see the family for Easter because I'm going this weekend, and gas is $1 billion. So driving 5.5 hours is a little out of the question 2 weekends in a row for me. Yeah,
fair enough. Okay, so for this episode, we're going to get right into it. We're going to do Fantasy Corner, and then we've got 4, because I added one, cap or no cap questions that Harper actually sent to us. And I know I wasn't supposed to look at them, Case, but I did briefly, just only because Harper sent them to me, and I read the message. And then I was like, oh my God, I'm not supposed to see these, but like I'm a fast reader, so I read the through. So I don't take that don't think that I prepared for these, because I didn't. That's
Chad's
what I'm
have
trying to get across.
A bunch of advanced analytics stats in his back pocket for these. I'm absolutely cold, don't know anything. Great. Love it.
Yeah. No, I've got nothing. Trust me. So, okay. Fantasy Corner first. What a few couple weeks. Like, we picked the worst week to miss because fantasy was incredible that week. And I'm just looking at it now, and I'll kind of go through what the matchups were and how they turned out, and then we can kind of recap it if that sounds good.
Great.
Okay, so quarterfinal matchups. What do we got here? We had you and I facing each other, and we knew that was going to be an absolute bloodbath, and it was. I ended up coming out on top for that one, 316 to 262. The next matchup was Hat-Trick Swayze and Ball to the Wall. Hat-Trick Swayze ended up coming out victorious in that, 203 to 159. Will Nye the Science Guy upset the Meatheads. We talked about that on the previous podcast, that could very well happen, and it did. The score of 238 to 179. And then the final matchup here, Bacchus Door Bandits ended up beating the Danbury Trashers, another upset by the score of 264 224 to 226. So that was week 24. That was the quarterfinals. Now we go on to the semifinals, and we'll go back and forth here in a second. Just want to read all these out. I played Hat Trick Swayze, and the Bacchus Door Bandits played Will Nye the Science Guy. Bacchus Door, who finished 7th in league standings, wins against Will Nye the Science Guy after some shady stuff went down, and he's in the finals now. I ended up beating Hat Trick Swayze. It wasn't even close. Sorry, Emerson. Score of 239 to 158. So now, to set up this final week, it's actually 2 weeks of fantasy. I will be playing the Bacchus Door Bandits over the course of the next couple weeks. I think there's 14 days because a Jets game got postponed. So that was a lot right there. Case, why don't we go back, talk about maybe the quarterfinals a bit, and then we'll get into the semis, and then we'll briefly preview the finals.
So in typical fashion, I lost and would have beat almost the entire league in points. So that's just how it goes for me. Yeah, we knew it was going to be a barn burner, absolute high score between the two of us, but you overperformed by a long shot. Oh, yeah. And so did I, but not by very much. And basically your projection was 264. I got 262, so I almost beat your projection, and then you got 316. Like Mitch Marner again got like 48 points or something ridiculous. I don't remember how much it was, but in like the first 2 days,
49.5 he got for that week.
Yeah. It's like, so that's how that went for me, and that was tough. I did all my moves. I was checking the lineups every day. I wanted to beat you because, frankly, I thought the only one out of those 8 teams that could beat you was me. Yeah. Now I'm praying that Prost can do it in the finals, but we'll see.
Oh, what an absolute week for us! Like you said, 262. That would have beat any other team in the top 8 except for, I mean, obviously myself. And surprisingly, the Bacchus Door Bandits, who came out at 264 that week. So they had an incredible week. And, maybe there's a reason they're in the finals now. But, okay, that was the quarterfinals. In the semis now, which just ended a couple days ago, some shit went down. And, it kind of pissed me off what Remy did. And no doubt he's listening to this right now. He realized he was going to lose to Bacchus Door Bandits in the dying hours of Sunday night, and he dropped the best player that he could have dropped on his team. You're not allowed to drop the top 2 picks that you have on your team. You're locked out from doing so. And he dropped Matthew Tkachuk. He knew full well that I was at the bottom of the waiver wire and that Bacchus Door is going to be able to pick him up. And that waiver claim is, I think, on Wednesday or something. So we'll see if Prost wants to play fair or wants to take advantage of this. But that was a pretty greasy move. What do you think of that?
I think that it's fair because if you didn't pull off so many greasy trades throughout the year, Remy wouldn't want to do that to you. And it's totally fair for me to say, like, a personality can determine this outcome, because you and I get it all the time in everything we do. Everyone wants us to lose more than they want to win. It's like in everything I've ever done. It's just our personalities. We're competitive and I don't know what
we're targets. We're targets for sure, and
it's how it goes down in the Pepsi Cup every year. Like, if we're on the same team, everyone is doing everything they can to make sure that we do not win.
Yeah, and it's kind of happened a bunch. We haven't won in a while, so maybe this year will be the year. But man, Sunday night. So Matthews was out for Remy, which automatically, like, he's 2 goals away from 60. He was playing a kind of a trash team in the Islanders. Like, he just kind of felt like it was going to happen that night. And if Matthews played, I almost have no doubts that Remy would have won that week, but he didn't. So I was really hoping that Nylander, who he also has, was going to come through and get some extra points to push him over the edge. Nylander scored a power play goal. He got 10.75 points on Sunday and put Remy within like 5 points or whatever. If Nylander got another goal, because the one was the game winner, like he could have advanced to the finals to play me without Matthew Tkachuk. And I was hoping that was going to happen. Oh, that would have been incredible. But okay, finals matchup.
In my semifinals.
Okay,
hold on.
Sorry, yeah,
my semifinals. It was one of those weeks where Monday, full lineup. Tuesday, 3 guys playing. Wednesday, full lineup, like guys on the bench with games played. Like, and then Thursday, 4 guys with games. It's like everyone seemed to line up for me with all my teams and all the players I have. My team also underperformed. Like I got 186 instead of my 206 projected. And then Allen's team majorly overperformed. He was projected 184 and he got 225. So it was like I got my shit kicked.
just a flip flop there.
Yeah, exactly. So, yeah, no, that was, I mean, you're not in the final or semifinals or like the important ones. So didn't hurt too much. Yeah,
it hurt Allen that he didn't have Carey Price, though. He really wanted Carey Price because he returned that week, but Price belonged to the Hornytown OnlyFans, who's been locked out of his account, so he couldn't even trade him if he wanted to, or drop him or whatever. But also, speaking of this week as well, in my other league, man, you would be so pissed if you were me, because Matthews was out, as I mentioned, and I have him. I also have Patrick Laine, who also decided to miss Sunday's game. I was down by like 5 points, still projected to win by 10, and then Tarasenko and Buchnevich and a couple other guys absolutely went off. I think Tarasenko had like 15 points. He had 4 actual points in the game when St. Louis won like 8-2 or 8-3 or whatever. They've put up a bunch of really high scoring games recently. But if I ended up winning that, which I didn't think there was any way I was going to lose, that would have guaranteed me $175 and given me an opportunity to play for $375. But like for whatever reason, my guys just didn't clutch, and it sucked. So you would have been pissed if
St. Louis's. Oh yeah, St. Louis's games were 6-5 and 8-3 this weekend.
Yeah, 8-3, man. Like what the hell? Okay, so the finals matchup here, I'll just preview it quick. It's me versus the Bacchus Door Bandits. On the line is $130. Technically $140 because there's 14 teams, but 10 of that is your own. Projections right now, I don't know if Bacchus Door has set his lineups right yet, but I'm projected to just wallop them over the next 2 weeks. 421 to 315. I hope that changes when he sets his lineups and he makes it more competitive, because if I win, the guys are going to be so mad, and like I don't even know what to do. If I like, what am I supposed to say? Like, sorry, I made good trades with Allen and like Dylan, you know, like you swindled these guys. Like, what do you want me to say?
They made bad trades with you. You didn't make good trades with them. That's what we like to say.
Yeah. And Harper can't even talk about fantasy if he were here right now because he didn't make the playoffs. So
yeah, he hasn't had to do anything for the last 3 weeks. My week, I don't care if I win this week at all. I just want to beat you in points. So that's what I'm going to be doing.
What are you projected for right now? Do you know?
Only 377, but I haven't really done much tweaking.
All right. Okay, I think that is the end of Fantasy Corner. So why don't we get into Cap or No Cap now?
You're now listening to Cap or No Cap right here on the Boys in the Booth podcast.
No cap, this shit bussin'.
3 questions sent to us by our very own Harper Cody because he's not here recording. But I'm going to start with one of my own for Cap or No Cap. And just because I've seen this in the news over the last couple days, Connor Bedard's season is officially over in the WHL. He finishes the year with, I believe, 51 goals, 100 points on the dot, which beats Connor McDavid's 16-year-old year in the OHL in terms of goals and points. So first question to you, Case, cap or no cap, will Connor Bedard be better all time than Connor McDavid?
That's a magic crystal globe type question to be asking me, but I'll put it this way: if it's based off their 16-year-old seasons, then Connor Bedard is going to be the better player in the long term because he beat him in points and goals, right?
Mm-hmm. Yep,
that's what I heard. In the WHL, which certainly in the last 2 years, especially around COVID, has been the dominant league of the CHL. And it's always been the more defensive, kind of hard hitting, like physical league out of the three. So that definitely plays a factor in my mind. And then also Connor McDavid's team, the Erie Otters, was very good with the players that he had. And I could not name one player on Connor Bedard's team for you right now.
Yeah, I don't think I could.
Who were the other players? Dylan Strome and Mitch Marner? That was his.
And Connor Brown played with them for a bit.
Yeah, so that's a good supporting cast to get to pump those numbers up as well. You know, this isn't me taking anything away from Connor McDavid. He's the best player in the world. It's just me trying to compare the only apples to apples scenario we have with these two guys, other than like U18 World Junior Championships, which Connor Bedard also breaking records.
Yeah.
So,
or like the Hlinka Gretzky or whatever. Like you could compare that, but yeah, I mean, incredible season for Bedard, like monumental. So I will say to this question, Connor Bedard will be better than Connor McDavid. I will say cap. Despite the incredible season that he's had, there's a long way to go for this kid.
Yeah.
Connor McDavid has been the best player in the NHL since he entered the league, and I don't think there's any way to even argue that point. He's so good, except, you know, maybe there is a case that Crosby was better the first year or something, or like there's maybe a case that Matthews has had a better season this year than McDavid. But anyways, McDavid is the best player in the NHL. Bedard's got a long way to go, but he seems to be on the right track after an incredible season.
I don't know. I'm just trying to compare everything I know about these guys, and like size definitely always plays a factor in my mind. Connor McDavid's a little taller.
Yeah.
Neither of them are very big, but that extra little bit of reach always going to help. Bedard's right-handed, is he not? A little added value in my mind.
Yeah.
I don't know. It's an interesting question. It's going to be one of those ones that people are kind of comparing for a long time to come here, but we'll see. Ask me this question when Connor McDavid gets drafted, with what team he's on when he gets drafted, and I think I can answer that question pretty quick.
Yeah,
I mean, if he gets drafted to like someone who was good right now, they're a good team right now, and then they're crashing and burning by the time they get him. If he gets drafted to the Islanders or something like that, then I'm a little worried for him because he doesn't have that system to come up into. Same as like, I don't know, there's a few teams I can think of, but maybe if he gets drafted by Arizona, they have a bunch of young kids playing for that team by then, and they're on the up and up. We don't really know. So it'd be interesting to see what team he's going to be on.
Yeah, it definitely matters, because like if you come into the league and your line mates are like I don't know, Matt Martin and like someone else on the Islanders, like I guess they're just fresh in my mind because you mentioned them and the Leafs played them the other night. But yeah, it definitely matters. Anyway, that was a fun one. That was me. I wanted to put that out there just because I saw today on Instagram that like his numbers were better and like people have been talking about it. So anyway, we'll see. Now the three that Harper sent us, these might be a bit quicker. Not really sure. He said it's Pacific Division themed, and I don't know what he has for the Pacific Division. He just loves it. But anyway, here we go. First one from Harper. Cap or no cap, Vegas will make the playoffs.
That's an interesting one. I'm gonna pull up the standings real quick to kind of dive into that. I'm going to say no cap. They're going to make the playoffs. Mark Stone just got back. That's a big upside for them. He hasn't done anything. I know that because I have him on my fantasy team, and I think he had like 0 points and 0.5 points in his first 2 games back. But even in the mind of a Vegas player, just knowing you're getting that player back is huge. And I think they're kind of getting out of that slump that they're in, and the team trailing them is, I don't know, Vancouver, and it's a wild card team in the Central, right? So
yeah. So let me give you the standings here for the race. So in the West, the 2 wild card spots right now belong to Dallas and Nashville, both with 91 points. Vegas has 87 points, and let's see, they have 6 games remaining. Vancouver's behind them with 84 points in 7 games remaining. I don't think Vancouver really has a shot. No. So Vegas has to make up essentially 2 wins. Like they're 4 points back right now with 6 games remaining. So it's definitely possible. But anyway, those are the standings. If that helps
I'm still gonna say no cap. They're gonna absolutely wallop the Devils tonight. So there's 2 easy points. They play San Jose as well. That that matchup goes back, you know. But I think that they're the better team than San Jose. So that should be another 2 points. They also play Chicago. 2 points there, and then that game against Dallas is going to be the make or break to me. Yeah. So if they can beat Dallas in that game, then I think they're in the playoffs. So I'm going to say no cap.
Yeah, I'm also going to say no cap. I think they're too good to miss the playoffs, like especially when they're completely healthy. I think it was Daryl Sutter who said, yeah, they're $100 million team. If they make the playoffs, they're the number 1 favorites to win it. And like, he's not wrong. Like, their salary cap when everyone's healthy, and what will happen in the playoffs if they do make it, will be almost $100 million. Like, it's insane. And if they get in, like, we've seen this team make it all the way to the Stanley Cup final and just been so good in the playoffs. They haven't been bad since coming into the league at all. They've been good every single year. And so, yeah, I think they're just too good to miss the playoffs, especially with the addition of Jack Eichel, getting back Mark Stone. Their goalie there, what's his name? Thompson? Is that their backup, Thompson? He's been good as well, like when taking over the net from Robin Lehner. So I think they've got a lot of things kind of going well right now, and I think they're a team that's too good and just probably too determined to miss the playoffs. And also, like, if they're chasing a wild card spot and they're only back by 4 points, like, do you have faith in the other teams right now? Like Nashville, I think they're still pretenders. I think they're riding the high of some hot scoring from the start of the year. And then a team like LA, who we haven't even mentioned, like, I think they're also pretenders too, and whoever plays LA in the first round, I think, is going to have a nice matchup. But yeah, in sum, I think Vegas is just too good to miss the playoffs. And even though it's looking, as the days go on, more and more, unlikely that they do, I'm still going to say no cap that they do make the playoffs.
The thing they have going against them is the hopes and wishes of the hockey world, as everyone would like to see them miss the playoffs this year, especially with Jack Eichel doing his big swap over there. I think everyone would love the idea of the first year Vegas misses the cup is the year that Eichel joins them. That would be fun.
That would be hilarious. And also, to add salt in the wound, Tage Thompson has 36 goals on the season, and the highest Jack Eichel ever scored for the Buffalo Sabres, or in his entire career, is 36. And Buffalo has games remaining. So if he beats that and Vegas misses the playoffs with Eichel, that is just a Buffalo fans, like, they're just on cloud 9 if that happens.
Dude, there's talk that Alex Tuch could be the next captain of Buffalo. Like, yeah. Wouldn't that also just be fantastic? Salt in the wound.
It's like you love having Thompson there because, like, you needed to get something out of the Ryan O'Reilly trade, but at the same time, like, ROR won a cup, so who's really laughing, at this point? Yeah. But Okay. Number 2 for cap or no cap, sent by Harper, keeping it in the Pacific Division. The Flames will not be able to afford keeping Johnny Gaudreau, Matthew Tkachuk, and Andrew Mangiapane this offseason. Cap or no cap? And I'll say this, if you want to tackle it as, instead of won't be able to afford, maybe just they won't keep these 3 players if they choose to go a different direction or something.
Man, I'd have to know how much they're going to have next year.
Yeah, I'd have to pull out the old cap friendly for that.
Yeah, that's a tough question to know off the top of my brain box here.
Yeah, like that's why I'm saying, like, if you don't want to structure it by affordability in your answer, fair enough. But just like, if they can keep these guys, do they?
I think they, like, gut reaction, I think they do, and I think they can. Just briefly looking here, they don't have any big tickets at all. Like, what do you think Johnny Gaudreau gets as a raise? He's had one fantastic season here. Last year was pretty good too, but you know, the history isn't really on his side. If you're asking me, Matthew Tkachuk's going to ask for a lot, but it's still only going to be like a $2 million pay raise.
Yeah. If I'm looking at it now, so we know that Tkachuk is an RFA, Gaudreau is a UFA, Mangiapane's an RFA. So those 2 RFAs, that's good because you have control. So like it's pretty likely that those guys re-sign because no one's going to chuck out an offer sheet to those guys because it's going to be massive dollars and that costs a lot of first round picks. But also looking at it here, they've got guys like Carpenter, Yarncroc, Brett Ritchie. Who else do they have here? Trevor Lewis. Like, there's 4 guys there, nearly $4 million coming off the books next year just to UFA. And then they've got the 3 we talked about to sign. And Mangiapane right now makes 2.425. He's definitely going to make or get a raise. Johnny Gaudreau makes 6.75. He's definitely going to get a raise. I don't know by how much. And Matthew Tkachuk makes 7. He's definitely going to get a raise. So you have to think to yourself, do they have enough space in those 4 guys who just came, or who I mentioned are coming off the books, as well as the current cap space that they have, which I believe is like $4 million. So do they have enough money, all of that considered, to sign those 3 guys to raises and to fill out around them as well?
An extra $1.5 million off the books next year for Troy Bauer's buyout is coming off. Bauer.
Yep.
There's an extra 1.5 mil.
Also, Zadorov and Goodbranson. I think they want to keep Zadorov. It seems like he's a really good fit there. Goodbranson is depth, I guess. I don't know if they want to keep him, but
yeah, I don't know. No, I think that there's definitely some room for all of them to be there.
Yeah. I think the question at the start of the year, if Harper's taking notes here on this cap or no cap question, I think at the start of the year it would have made more sense to ask this because the whole scenario surrounding Johnny Gaudreau was, is he going to stay? Is he the type of player that this team needs, et cetera, et cetera? But he's showing that he is that 99 plus point player that he scored a few years ago, and now he's on pace for more than 100. And Matthew Tkachuk is the player that they thought he was, and Lindholm, maybe sort of out of nowhere, is like a Selke candidate. And
yeah, he's criminally underpaid here.
Yeah. So, like, I think now the answer to this question, should they keep all 3, is yes, so long as they make the money work. But I don't think Mangiapane, like, sure, he's going to get a raise because he makes next to nothing now. But how much can it really be for Mangiapane? Like, he's got 30 goals, but, you know, he's what, a 60-point player? Like,
yeah, I would give him $1 more than Michael Backlund.
What does Backlund make?
5.35.
Wow.
I like right there. Hey, listen, Andrew, you're the third highest paid forward on this team.
Yeah.
You're the third best forward on this team.
Yeah, that's true. Gaudreau, like what is he gonna make? If he makes 7.25 now, is that what I said? 7.25?
6.75.
Oh, 6.75. What is he gonna make in the offseason?
Yeah, that's like I said, it's hard to think about with the inconsistency of his seasons. We're not really. I don't know. Is he this year's Johnny Gaudreau? Then he's like around $10 million or something like that. So the way people have been getting paid here, I don't know, $9 million. Like maybe 10 was a little too much. But I think that this team has to figure out a way to keep all of these guys around, because when you look at this team and the build of how they are, like you've got a Vezina caliber goalie locked up long term, $6 million. That's cheap for him, for Markstrom. You've got your two best defensemen locked up long term at under $5 million each. That's pretty big. That's a nice place to be sitting. You've got one of your best players that is getting underpaid at 4.85 in Elias Lindholm. Like these are all the things that you want to have going right when you're locking up your best players long term, because you know you're comfy going. You're pushing for a cup each year these next few years. At least they should be with this lineup. Yeah. Man, it would be nice to get Milan Lucic's payroll off this.
Yeah, no kidding.
It's brutal. Like it's not even done next year. That's so scary. Or sorry, it is. Next year's is last year. Like, man, it'll be nice to get that 5.25 off of there.
Yeah, no kidding. If you had to guess right now who makes more money in the offseason, Tkachuk or Gaudreau, who would you say? I know it's we're comparing apples and oranges because Gaudreau is a UFA and Tkachuk is an RFA, but if we're taking that into consideration, who do you think walks out of Tree Living's office with the biggest check to go to the bank with?
I think Gaudreau will walk out with more money, but Matthew Tkachuk should walk out with more money. That's my answer.
I could see him signing for the same dollar. Like, I think Tkachuk's that good. But, I mean, because Gaudreau will probably get overpaid, right? Because, you know, we don't really know exactly what he is, but he is a UFA, so if he wants, he can walk and go somewhere else. I don't think he will. I do think they keep all three guys that we mentioned, but he'll probably get, you know, a lot of money, 9.5 maybe. Like, I think that's reasonable. And then Tkachuk, like, dude, I'd give him the same. He's that good.
Okay, well, then you're out of money.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's the problem. Okay, third one from Harper, and finally, third cap or no cap here, again, keeping in the Pacific Division. John Gibson will not be an Anaheim Duck next season. Cap or no cap?
I'm going to say cap. I think that although, you know, he's never won a cup and probably never will if he sticks around in his time, I think he likes the guys on the team. He likes where he lives. He likes everything he has going for himself. And Anaheim would be foolish to willingly get rid of him. The only way I would get rid of him if I were Anaheim is if he was like Jack Eicheling it. Like he's such a good role model in that team full of young like superstars that in the making. So having that anchor in net that is also a leader on your team, that's a great thing to have for a young team. Like that's something that the Devils are sorely missing right now. They would, if John Gibson was on the Devils, like, oh my god.
Yeah, that wouldn't be bad, eh? I'm also going to say cap. I'll say that he remains on the Ducks. Just because I think like for a while the Ducks were kind of middling and you weren't really sure like what they were going to do, if they were going to rebuild or like if they were going to keep pushing for it. Well, they've kind of made their decision, and that decision is a retool. and like they didn't fully sell. They realized at the start of the year that there's a lot of potential in that lineup. Guys like Troy Terry and Trevor Zegras and Jamie Drysdale, all three of those guys who are skilling it up, as they say in Arizona. But like they realize they have a lot of potential. They won a shit ton of games at the start of the year, and then they kind of did the right thing at the deadline. They didn't go, okay, we're winning games, we need to buy. They kind of sat back and thought, okay, this is our team. We're going to be good. We've got pieces coming. Let's just kind of like ride this out. And I'm so happy that they finally decided to do that rather than like completely selling off John Gibson or like buying at the deadline or whatever. They kind of picked a route, and I like that. And I think that means that John Gibson still fits their timeline, because I think if Anaheim is going to be competitive in the next 2-3 years, I think you can definitely get valuable years out of John Gibson in the next 2 or 3. So why would you sell him now when you're going to get futures that don't really match your timeline? Like I think it makes total sense for him to stick around, like you said, be a mentor and a leader on this team, and just kick it with the young guys and make a push again next year for a wild card spot or something.
Yeah, like I don't think this team is very far off from being competitive, and I'm looking forward to the New Jersey Devils Anaheim Ducks playoff rivalry getting rekindled here. I don't know who's going to be Scott Stevens to Trevor Zegras' Paul Kariya, but it's going to be exciting, and both these teams are kind of like, they're the two teams East-West that I compare the most when it comes to like where they are in the rebuild and where they're going to be and how soon. I think all of those things are kind of lining up. The Devils may be a year ahead, but it's going to be fun. And I just like, if I'm John Gibson, it's like, seems like a good place to be. You can take a gamble on trying to win a cup, but I don't know how that looks for him.
Yeah. Okay, that's it, dude. Anything else you wanted to bring up on this week's episode?
Not really. I'm looking forward to the next couple of weeks. It's getting busy for me life-wise, and we're getting into some fun time of the year for sports in general. I'm getting to see a Leafs game, see the last game of the year, and when they play Boston, and then we're into playoffs, and that's when it gets exciting again for me, because the Devils games are tough right now for me. It's hard. So I've been more of a Blue Jays fan than a Devils fan recently. So it's a great time of year, and it's getting exciting.
Yeah. Who are you going to be cheering for in the playoffs? LA, I assume?
In the West, I'll be cheering for LA. And if they're out first round, it's Minnesota for me.
Fair enough.
I hope every team in the East loses.
They might to Colorado in the Stanley Cup Finals.
Yeah, I don't know. I suppose I'd like to see a Tampa Bay three-peat. That'd be interesting to me. I don't know.
Yeah.
Mostly because Florida. I'll probably be cheering for Florida in the East.
Yeah. They're probably going to play Washington or Pittsburgh, I think. And I like both those matchups for Florida. They're good. They're good. They're pretty good.
They're scary.
Yeah. Okay, well, that concludes it. That was episode 122 of the Boys in the Booth podcast. Thanks so much for listening, guys. The next couple weeks will be more exciting because we're going to preview, playoff matchups and everything once we know who's in and who's out, so that'll be more fun. Also, we'll be getting Harper back for the next couple weeks, so we'll be able to structure these a bit better rather than Casey and I just rambling off. Next week we'll also tell you who won our fantasy week, or actually in 2 weeks we'll be able to tell you that, and we'll give you an update next week. So all of that to come, as well as merch sales on May 1st rather, to get you prepared for summer. So thanks again for listening to episode 122 of the podcast, and have a good night.
Yep, save those pennies, buy some merch.
This has been another episode of Boys in the Booth with Harper Cody, Chad Melbourne, and Casey Abrams. New episodes every Monday on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Connect with the Boys in the Booth on Instagram, Facebook, and YouTube at Boys in the Booth. Visit boysinthebooth.com for show details, and don't forget, you can become a patron of the podcast for just $1 a month at www.patreon.com/boysinthebooth.